Good morning, students. In the last class from this chapter, that is our environment, we have learned a lot about the concept and meaning of environment. Besides that, we have also learned about the ecology, the ecosystem, their definitions, and somewhat also regarding the components of the ecosystem. Today, we will learn all this point: food chain, food web, ecological pyramids, flow of energy, biological magnification, effect of our activities on environment, depletion of ozone layer, waste disposal. But once again, I would like to discuss about the different components, especially we today once again discuss in a detailed way the component parts of our ecosystem. In the last class, we have seen that ecosystem has the two component parts, abiotic and biotic. The living components part of the ecosystem is the biotic, in which there are presence of all the plants and animals. And in the abiotic, we have seen the physical, like the air, water, soil, gases, minerals, etc. In this part, why should we want to discuss once again this one? As because on the basis of this, all these things are, all these points will be cleared, like the food chain, like the food web, like the ecological pyramids, flow of energy, biological magnification. Now come to the biotic part of the, or the biotic components of the ecosystem. In the earlier class, we have seen that ecology is the interaction of the living and non-living component of the environment, and the ecological unit is the ecosystem. And ecosystem is the such unit of ecology having the structural and functional component part. When we are talking about the structural part of the ecosystem, then we are talking about the biotic and abiotic factor. And when we are talking about the functional part of the ecosystem, we will talk about the energy flow and the biogeochemical cycle. Understand? Energy flow and biogeochemical cycles. Now, here the biotic component, we want to discuss here about the biotic component of ecosystem. Biotic components. If we divide, if we classify all the organism depending on the basis of mode of nutrition, then we may classify the organism into two categories, that is the autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition, the mode of nutrition, autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. And the organisms are known as autotrophs. And similarly, if we are talking about the one who not capable to synthesize food materials, they are the heterotrophs. All the green plants possessing the chlorophyll molecules are the autotrophs, and the non-green plants and the animals which do not possess chlorophyll molecules in their body, they are the heterotrophs. And the mode of nutrition is known as the heterotrophic nutrition. In this part, if we classify all these living organisms, that is the autotrophic and autotrophs and heterotrophs, on the basis of the ecological point of view, then it is the producers, the consumers and the decomposers. The producers, which can able to capture radiant energy, solar energy, and with the help of inorganic materials taken from their surroundings, from the environment, they can able to photosynthesize and able to synthesis the food materials, carbohydrate. They are all such type of organism are here. In the case of the ecological point of view, we may tell them the producers. Understand that this is the first basic component part of the biotic factors, and that is the producer. After this, all the other living organisms which cannot able to photosynthesize, which cannot able to produce their own food, they directly or indirectly dependent upon the producers, and that is why they are known as consumers. But the level of the consumers, the category of the consumers are different. When you are talking, just here see an example, like in the forest ecosystem, when we are talking plants, that means the green plants, and here is the deer and the lion. So what is this? This is the producer and this is the consumer. This is also consumer. The consumer here, this deer, this lion, both are the consumer. The first consumer, that is the deer, the second consumer, that is the lion, the first order consumer or the second order consumer, or maybe the consumers are more than 3, more than 4, ultimately 5 are final consumers. Then it is the known as the first order of consumer, second order of consumer, third, fourth, fifth, and it is also known as the primary, secondary, tertiary, and so on. In this way, we have seen that there are in each this one, like here deer, here lion, and here the producer, all these are present in a different level, and that is the trophic level. We will see again when we will discuss about the different types of examples of the food chain, then it is also clear. Now, what is the decomposers? After the death and decay of the living organism, what will happen? The functions of the bacteria and fungi started. This bacteria and fungi decompose the living organisms, and once again, after the decay and decompositions of the living body, after that the important materials may be recycled into the environment, and it may reabsorbed by the green plants during the process of photosynthesis. In this way, you have seen the biogeochemical cycle or the nutrient cycle. In that cycle, what happened? There is the movement of the molecules like the nitrogen, like the carbon, like the oxygen and the other nutrient from the organism to the environment, and from the environment to the organism in a cyclic way is known as biogeochemical cycle. That cycle operated with the help of this bacteria and fungi. It is also known as transformer. It is also known as decomposers are also known as transformers. Why it is known as transformers? As because especially it is also known as transformer, as because there are special types of bacteria, a specific bacteria present which can able to recycle the after the death and decay of the body. They can convert the organic compounds into the inorganic, and that can be again reutilized by the organism. In this way, we may call them also the transformer. So here once again we have seen the composition or the component parts of the biotic. And now come on, depending upon this, we may see that in each and every type of ecosystem, whether it is the terrestrial ecosystem or the aquatic ecosystem, there is a sequence of the producers and the consumers, and that sequence will be indicated with the help of the two different food web and the food chain. We will see here first what is the food chain, and again we will also see what is the other aspect of the food chain with the help of the example. And there you also may see these all component are the biotic or factors of the ecosystem. Here are few examples of a food chain. Here may you see the transfer of food energy from producer to consumer, from the producers to consumers in an ecosystem is known as food chain. We can also define it in this way, that transfer of food energy from the different trophical level is known as food chain. The transfer of may change this one also definition, the transfer of food energy from the different trophical level. What is this trophic level? Try to understand it. Each step or the category in a food chain, each step a level of the food chain forms a trophic level. Like it is the grass, it is also a trophic level. The deer, it is also the trophic level. The lion, it is also a trophic level. And can we define it? It can may define as trophic levels or position at which a species feed. आप यहाँ देख रहे हैं species जिस लेवल पे, जिस पोजीशन पे फीड करता है, उस हर एक पोजीशन को और उस हर एक लेवल को नोन एज द ट्रॉफिक लेवल, ट्रॉफिक लेवल कहा जाता है. ये एक लेवल है, ये एक लेवल है फीड का, ये एक लेवल है फीड का. ये तो फोटोसिंथेसाइज कर रहा खुद से, ये ऑटोट्रॉफ से, है ना, ये लेवल है. तो ये लेवल जो है, मैंने जैसा पहले कहा कि देयर आर मोर देन 2, 3, 4 consumers and the producer is single here, like the grasses or the plants, green plants are the producers, and here is the deer is the trophic level. Here lion, it is also at a particular trophic level, at a particular position, and the position is here as the first order of consumer, the position is here as the second order of consumer. Similarly here, the first order of consumer is insect, the second order of consumer is the frog, the third order of consumer is the snake or hawk. Here in this case, like we have classified in this way autotrophs, heterotrophs, consumers like the primary, secondary, tertiary or so on, like the first order, second order, at the top or the final consumer. Similarly, we can also classify here herbivorous, like the deer which can feed on the green plants, only on the plants, they are the herbivorous. And similarly, when the animals which can feed on the plants, on the animals, flesh of animals or the meat of animals, that is the carnivorous. And here is the it is the herbivorous, it is the carnivorous. This is the primary carnivorous, it is the secondary carnivorous. Maybe here the insect are the herbivorous, and here is the frog is the carnivorous, and here snake is also the carnivorous, here the peacock is also the carnivorous. So there are maybe the human like the omnivorous, they can feed both on the plants and as well as on animals. That is the different categories. Here may see in case of all these three examples which I have given here, these are the examples from the terrestrial food chain, that is the terrestrial ecosystem. And may you have clearly here seen the biotic factors, how interactions and their interactions here, like the producer and the consumers, and each level is the trophic level. Now it is the phytoplankton. Phyto means plants and plankton means floating, तैरने वाला है ना. तैरना इसको नहीं कहेंगे, सॉरी, तैरना नहीं, बल्कि पानी पे जो माने ये करता रहता, मूव करते रहता है ना. तो पौधे हुए ये फाइटोप्लैंक्टन, और जूप्लैंक्टन माने एनिमल. ठीक है, तो ये दिस जूप्लैंक्टन्स आर द स्मॉलर herbivores, are the consumer which can feed on the phytoplankton, and these are the small fish. Again here is the consumer, and the big fish, it is also a consumer. So here first order, second order, third order, there are three different consumers. Here in this food chain there is a zooplankton and fishes, only the two consumers, that means the three different trophic level. So here all in these cases we have seen that from each trophic level the energy or the food transferred from the producer to the consumers are through the different trophic level. So that is why I have told you that food chain can also define as the transfer of food energy in an ecosystem through the different trophical level is known as the food chain. Now similar definition you can also give for the energy flow. The transfer of energy flow, the definition of the transfer of energy flow is similar, as because you may also define here what are the energy which are consumed by the green plants during the process of photosynthesis. You well know that it is the only living organism which can able to capture the radiant energy, and with the help of that they can photosynthesize. That means whatever may be the energy utilized by them, and that now incorporated into their body. And if the organism feed on this organism on the plant, that means the energy is now transferred to the consumer. Similarly, in the first order consumer the energy will transfer, or the primary consumer. In the second order consumer the energy will be transferred. In this way the transfer of energy takes place from the different trophical levels, and that is the energy flow. We may see the definitions and the other aspect, but before that one important thing is here, food web also. Food web means there is a networking of the interconnected. Here is the in a लीनियर सीक्वेंस, सीधा आपने स्ट्रेट देखा कि यहाँ से यहाँ तक एक ग्रास है, प्रोड्यूसर है, ये फिर कंज्यूमर हो गया, ये कंज्यूमर हो गया, ये कंज्यूमर हो गया. लेकिन कभी हर समय ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. एक कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नेटवर्क वाला भी फूड चेन हो सकता है, जिसमें इट एंड बी ईटन का अंतर्गत जो है ऑर्गेनिज्म एक दूसरे पे डिपेंड करते हैं, तो उसको फूड वेब कहते हैं. ठीक है, तो आइए देखते हैं उसका एग्जाम्पल और फूड वेब क्या है. Food web. Here the diagram for the food web. This is the grass plants. Here may you see grasshopper and a hawk that can make a food chain here. And similarly, if we talking about the producer, it can feed the producer's lizard can feed on that. Rabbit can feed on that, and rabbit also may eaten by the hawk. Similarly here grasshopper eaten by the lizard, and lizard may eaten by the hawk. And in the third case, here we see one first case, and in the first case here the second, here the third, here the fourth, and here the two different types. Here one more important here is the consumer, that is the snake is also is here present. It may complete up to this. The food chain may complete up to the snake, but it may for the top and final consumer here is hawk. In cases of this, we have seen that it is a such type of networking of several interconnected food chain, that is known as the food web. May you hear the definition: the interconnected chains operating in an ecosystem which establish a network of relationship between various species is called a food web. We may also define it in a simple language: the network of interconnected food chains is known as food web. That means in a different trophical level, we have seen that there are presence of different food chains that may interconnected with each other, and there is a pattern like the eat and be eaten. Understand that this is the food web. Now look about the flow of energy. The flow of energy in an ecosystem from the producer to the consumer or through the different trophical level is known as flow of energy. Here example. From this example, can you understand in a very good manner how this energy flow occurs in a particular food chain here, like you have seen in the forest, the green plants, the producer, the deer is the first order of consumer, the lion is the second order of consumer. When the radiant energy captured, that radiant energy contains 1000 joules, but only about 1% utilized by the green plants, and that light energy converted into the chemical energy, and that energy is now conserved into the prepared food materials like the carbohydrate. Understand? That means 990 joules of energy lost into the environment, and only the 10 joules of energy utilized. Now this 10 joules of energy that incorporated into the plants is available to the next trophic level of the food chain. The next trophic level is here the deer, and that is why here it is mentioned 10 joules. Now it will get 10 joules, and this one, and out of this 10 joules, how much will be utilized by the deer? Similar case here also, only 1 joule, that means the 10% will be utilized, available as food, and the 9 joules of energy lost into the environment. Similarly, after getting it 1 joule, the lion will get 1 joule from the deer, and that will be utilized how? The 0.1 joule of energy available as a food, and 0.9 joules of energy lost. That means after the preparation of the food materials, the food particles which present within the plants, that will give 10 joules. Similarly, here from the flesh of the deer, it will 1 joule, and from the lion body, it will only available 0.1 joule of energy. That means it has established the 10% law. In a food chain, the energy available at each successive trophic level is 10% of the previous levels. So here is the 10% law. And what is the characteristic features of this energy flow? The first important features of this energy flow is that the flow of energy is always unidirectional. Number 2, the captured solar energy, the captured energy by the green plants cannot be reverted to the sun. And similarly, when one trophic level has captured, it cannot be given back to the previous level, and the like deer will not back in the previous level, like the producer, it cannot there is no backflow of energy to the previous level. In each and every level, if energy passes, it cannot be passes to the previous levels. So this is some important features of the energy flow. After this, we will discuss about a short description about the pyramids. Here we will now discuss about the pyramids. First, ecological pyramid. What is the ecological pyramids? Ecological pyramids are diagrammatic representation showing the relationship between the number. Between the number, that means in each trophic level, what are the number of species present. Like in cases of the producer, you will see a large number of species. After that, successively the numbers will be decreasing. Understand? And that will be plotted and represented by a diagram that will show a pyramid like diagram. That is why it is known as the ecological pyramids. So here once again may see here the relationship between the number. Energy means flow of energy. The same, the basic. Here is the diagram which can make you see that this is the sunlight. Sun, and this is the herbivores. And this is the first order consumer. It is also the consumer, sorry. This is the first order consumers, that is the carnivores. And may you also indicate it if it is the top consumer. It may also carnivorous. So this is the here the energy during the process of photosynthesis, the energy captured as the solar energy, that will be converted into the chemical energy, and that will be available within the food as a potential energy to the different trophical level. Understand? So that is the flow of energy. The pyramid of energy shows the rate of energy flow at successive trophic levels. So here it will be at the base it will be greater, and at the top it will be lesser. And similarly, you will also see the pyramid of numbers and the pyramid of biomass. Here the pyramid of number means the presence of different species. Like we will this in the second pyramid of number, pyramid of numbers. In the case of pyramid of number, we may see the diagram like in this way. Understand? Here the producer, here the consumers, here the consumers, here also the consumers. The number of consumers will be successively decreases, and number of producers are here greater. That make and look like a pyramid. Similarly, the pyramid of biomass. pyramid of biomass. Biomass means for a particular habitat, the total number of living organisms which are present, what are their total weight? The total weight of all the living organisms present in a particular habitat is known as biomass. Understand? And the diagram will be like that. If you will look here, the similar diagram will be for the biomasses also, but it will be represented in the weight, like in the it is represented in the number, it will be represented in the weight. What are the weight of the producers? That means total number of the green plants which are available at this level. Understand? What are their weight in a particular habitat? Total number of the consumers and what are their weight, and in the next trophic level, what are the weight of the next consumer? That means the first order consumer, the second order consumer, and the third order consumer similarly. In this way, we have seen that ecological pyramids are of three different types: the pyramid of energy, the pyramid of number, and pyramid of biomass. Earlier, we have discussed about the pyramid of energy. That means pyramid of energy. There are three. 1, 2, 3. In this way, we have seen the ecological pyramids. Now, come to know about the biological magnification. It is very interesting fact, and from this fact, we can aware how much we are taking the toxic materials in our body and how we are taking. You well know in class 9th you have seen that in agriculture field during the production of a crop, during their growth and development, we can use pesticides. These pesticides includes insecticide, fungicides, weedicides. That means a harmful chemical substances that can be used, and after utilization they can be a part of the body. And there are so many substances which are excessively used, chemical excessively used are not utilized, they can be washed away and that can be absorbed from the water and mineral again to the plants. And when they will absorb as chemicals from soil, what will happen? That will come to the next trophic level, that is the consumer, the herbivores will get it chemical enters the body within these herbivores. And from the herbivores, if we can feed on that, like we can getting milk from cow, we also may get meat from the goat, then what will happen? That receives chemical from milk or goat meat. In this way, here the man who is the also omnivores and that can feed both on the plants and animals are the worst sufferer. They will get maximum amount of this successive increase in the concentration of some chemicals through different trophic levels of food chain in an ecosystem is called the biological magnification. In this way, you may know the algae, the main photosynthesizer or the main food manufacturer in the aquatic world. The algae is the king of the aquatic world in the process of the photosynthesis. It can provide the energy to all the organism which can of the aquatic organism which can not able to photosynthesize, and that is why the fish will get it, and in the body of the fish the chemicals enters with the body along with the food. And similarly, if we can feed on the fish, we will get the same chemicals, that is the harmful chemicals. It is known as the biological magnification. How the toxic or the chemical materials which are harmful within the trophic level successively come. Understand? By the way of a food chain. So this is the biological magnification. The destruction of ozone layer, the depletion of ozone layer. Ozone layer, which is considered as the umbrella of our earth, हमारी धरती के लिए जो छतरी का काम करता है, उस लेयर का तबाह होना, बर्बाद होना. देखिए, ऑक्सीजन अल्ट्रा वायलेट रेडिएशन से ये बायोएटॉमिक मॉलिक्यूल जो है अलग अलग फ्री मॉलिक्यूल में, फ्री एटम में कन्वर्ट हो गया, ऑक्सीजन. अब ये जो है एक फ्री ऑक्सीजन, एरोबिक ऑक्सीजन जो है, जो कि बहुत ही माने all the organism depend upon the this oxygen. If this free molecules of oxygen combined with the oxygen, then what will happen? Triatomic oxygen will be formed. It is known as ozone, and in this way the ozone layer formed. But this ozone layer, which protect us from the different harmful effects of the ultraviolet radiations, like it protect us from the cancer, skin cancer, it can may damage eyes, it can may damage the body resistivity system, the immune system to fight against the disease. And in this way, if this ultraviolet radiations can passes through the ozone layer, then what will happen? This effect. And why? As because causes of ozone layer depletion. इसका क्या कारण? आप क्लास 9 में बायोजियोकेमिकल साइकिल में आपने कुछ पिक्चर डायग्राम देखे होंगे ओजोन लेयर का, वो ईयर वाइज उसमें दिखाया गया है. उसको आप एक मतलब अगर आपके पास बुक होगा, यू मस्ट consult that book, and may you can observe how how gradually the ozone layer becomes thinner and thinner. In this way, you can see that causes of ozone layer depletion. Ozone depleting substances like the chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, where these chemicals are used, these substances are used in refrigeration, fire extinguishers and aerosols. In this way, this will be impact on that umbrella, and that may damage, and there is a depletion, and due to that there will be harmful effects. In this chapter we have seen that there is a different interaction of the living and non-living, and if we cannot regulate and if we cannot in a well manner utilize our environment, and we cannot interact in a well and good manner with all our component parts of our surroundings, that may be fatal for us.